Philip. Our penultimate story this evening is Spring Clean by Sian Breeze. Sian Breeze is a poet and writer who grew up in California but now lives in Chelmsford. Sian attended the first ever Stroud Short Stories event in 2011 to watch her then boyfriend Alex read his story Flickers. It must have been good because they are now married with 2 kids. Sian has always wanted to spend her life writing and has been shortlisted and placed in several competitions. So to read Spring Clean, please welcome Sian Breeze.
Spring Clean. I listened to the broom, enjoying the quiet hush of the bristles kissing the floorboards. I liked watching the pile of dirt growing and merging into a new form, building slowly like a castle on a sandy beach. I watched the dust and the hair clumping together into a mound, boasting the grime and the guts of the past week, and I knelt down, sweeping it out of sight into the pan, surveying the crisp lines of wood. I pulled my collar from my neck, separating the skin from sweat, cursing the polyester company uniform. I stood still for a moment, catching my breath, surveying the scene, feeling dizzy at the size of the rooms. Then the polish. I studied the row of silver bottles. They stood in a proud rainbow of coloured potions. I held my finger in front of me like a wand, waving it around, choosing at random my lucky pick. I settled on the yellow one, and I pulled it out, shaking it to check its weight. I always sniffed before I sprayed, inhaling the soft lemon and chemical hues. The 4 windows were lined up in front of me, and I started on the left, writing my name in the thick layer of dust on the inside of the ledge. But remembering myself, I wiped it quickly away with a cloth. The smells of the polish melted into the heat, going straight to my head. I bent over, trying to feel the breeze that was sneaking through the cracks in the locked glass. I held the cloth upright in my left hand, careful not to knock any spores of dead skin and lint onto the freshly swept floor. I wiped the ledge in clockwise circles, pressing firmly on the microfibres, checking over for any leftover smears. I wiped ledges and mantles and light shades and ornaments. I wiped and I sprayed, admiring the gleam and going over my movements again and again, until I was happy, and I knew he would be. Then the heat came over me. It was thick and stifling. The dizziness and the sweat stuck my polyester green uniform to my skin. I watched the room swaying in front of me and pinched the skin on my hand to stop myself from fainting. I looked at my watch and at the locked door in front of me, feeling my chest shrinking around my heart. Careful not to catch my name badge in my hair, I raised my dress and apron upwards over my head, watching it melt into a pile in front of me. I unlaced my shoes and pulled off my cotton socks. I felt behind my back at the tight clasp of my bra. I sucked in and unlatched, throwing the black lace over to a chair, feeling the freedom in my breasts. I slipped my knickers off, tentatively looking back at the door. I screwed them up in a ball and I placed them on top of the black bra. I stretched everything upwards towards the ceiling, feeling my skin breathing again. I felt the soft heat of my nipples and cheeks and wiggled my hands. Then I stood naked in the light. My skin was free again. The lines of sweat evaporated into the air. I only stopped to reach for my bottle of water when I saw his face in the reflection of the polished mirror. He was sitting in the next room, staring straight towards me from the table. I knew his brown beard and dark hair from the photos I'd polished, the ones with him and a woman in a red dress. We'd never met in the flesh. He paid the company by standing order, and here he was now, facing my naked back in silence, watching me. My clothes were in there with him, still piled on each other, on the chair directly in front of him. I would have to walk towards him, meeting his eyes if I went to collect them. I looked up to the mirror, placing my water glass down in front of me. He hadn't moved. He was still, just sitting there, expressionless, watching me. I looked at the vacuum resting by my feet, and slowly I bent over and I switched it on, never looking back up at his face. I started to hoover the room I was in, pointing the nozzle under chairs and into corners, all the while facing the ground. I tried to focus my mind on the job, forgetting the eyes that I knew were watching the shapes of my body. I waited for him to speak, for a cough or a sneeze of acknowledgement, but there was nothing, just the sound of the vacuum cleaner. Thank you.